What's up, friends? Today we're going to do some recipe testing from one of my all-time favorite cookbooks, Eating Out Loud by Chef Eden. This is actually one of our go-to cookbooks. We really haven't gone wrong. We've made about 30% of the recipes in here, and every single time it hits. So if you're like me, you're shopping around and you see these. What the heck are these? Well, it's in her cookbook. It's called a delicata squash. This is the perfect recipe I've actually had my eye on for a while. The winter squash, crispy sage, and honey. I mean, those are pretty much all my favorite words, so why not give it a try? What I love about any recipe that features squash is that you can change it up. So in her recipe, she calls for these delicata squash or acorn squash, and you can really switch it up. You can use kabocha, you can use butternut squash, pumpkin. These ones, because I'm actually able to find them at the farmer's market, I'm pretty stoked on, and they just look cool. So in there she says cut them into rounds like this, about 1/2 inch thick, and leave the seeds in if you want. The picture looks pretty, so I'm gonna give it a try. I do want to show you how to cut this because cutting a squash can really deter you from using it. Really important, make sure you get yourself a good serrated knife and be extra careful. This is literally a saw, and if you slip, you will cut your finger. Especially with this round delicata, it's gonna move, so do your best to find a level resting place to get started. First, let's just trim off the end. You can see I'm not using this like a normal chef's knife. You know, I'm not able to just push my way through it. You do have to saw a little bit to get through that tough exterior. So do your best to cut these as consistently and evenly as possible. It will affect the cooking. All right, if you get to the end and you've got one really thick side and one really thin side, be super careful. This is where most people get cut. So again, don't rush through this. Just see if you can get the knife to catch its edge. Watch your thumb and just slowly saw your way through. Okay, so you can see I didn't get absolutely perfectly even cuts. That's okay. It's not going to be ruined. Just note that these thinner pieces are going to cook faster than the thicker ones. All right, now it's time to throw all this together. So remove the end pieces. Let's spread these out as evenly as possible. Now you can see the tray's not fully lined with the baking sheet. That means that this will create a sticky mess afterwards. So if you want to avoid that, then just cut a bigger piece. All right, so the recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of olive oil, doesn't seem like enough, and we're going to use 2 tablespoons of honey. All right, that's a little bit more, but how bad could that be? Now we're going to use 2 teaspoons. Truth is, I never use measuring cups and measuring things for recipes. Just eyeball it. But we're gonna try this out. Okay, so we've got about 2 teaspoons of salt, and we're gonna do half a teaspoon of ground pepper. This, I just have to do it with my fingers. Okay. That's about 2 teaspoons. And last, we're gonna throw on exactly 15 sage leaves. I appreciate how specific she was. However, some are a little bigger than others. So I'm actually just gonna tear these up a little bit. Okay. It looks very uneven, you know, it's not like evenly coated with the honey and the olive oil. So I'm just gonna kind of smear it around. For me, this is the fun part of cooking. I really want this to be coated, especially when cooking pumpkins and potatoes. You really do want to make sure that the surface area is coated with oil. If you don't, it's going to take so much longer for it to cook. So just get in there and make sure it's good, nice and coated. I honestly have no idea how this sage is going to infuse the flavor, or if it's just going to get nice and crispy. That's probably what's going to happen. So, all right. Looking pretty good here. Ooh. Look at that one. That one's nice and juicy. Now we're going to pop these in the oven. Got those babies in the oven. It says it's gonna roast between 20 and 30 minutes, and to check them halfway through, maybe give them a little turn. So set a timer and I'll see you in a few. This is possibly an unpopular opinion. However, I think the best thing you can do while waiting for something in the oven is clean. Yes, I'm serious. Clean everything, so when you're done with this, you can just enjoy the food and you don't have to think about that pile of dishes. So yeah, clean some dishes. Okay, so it's been about 12 minutes and we're gonna rotate these. Thinner ones are looking pretty done, and well, maybe like half done. And ooh, look at some of these getting some nice color. You also want to keep in mind that sometimes ovens will have different like hot spots. So you might want to rotate the pan when you put it back in. Also, you'll see there's some nice burnt spots from the honey. So it's probably going to be a lot more burnt when we see it next. Okay, all right. Let's put this back in for another 12 minutes. All right, let's see what we got here. Pretty cooked. The thinner ones are very soft. Let's find a thick one. Thick one is still cooked all the way through. So that was about 25 minutes. We've got some crispy pieces of sage. Some of these are a little bit darker. You can see. And we definitely have some burnt areas on the pan from the excess honey. All right, let's plate it up. All right, let's give this a try. It actually looks really good. All right, let's see. Let's go for one of these. Nice and soft. Pretty good. Tastes like squash, a little bit of honey. The salt is nice. The sage. The crispy sage is good, actually. That's really good. All right, let's get a bite with. All right, I'm gonna try one of these thinner pieces here. You can see it's like a little bit darker. Wow. Okay, definitely cut them thinner, or just cook them a little bit longer, I guess. But I like the thin, little caramelized honey bit with the crispy sage. Eden, you're a genius. The seeds, I'm like 50-50. Since they are cooked, then you can chew them. They look pretty. 50-50. I don't know if I would leave them in the next time. Let's try, yeah, look at this piece. Got that Malden salt with the little piece of, It was good. Definitely making this again. All right, so that's it for this week. We made a beautiful winter squash with crispy sage and honey from Chef Eden's cookbook, Eating Out Loud. If you like what you saw, please drop a comment. Tell me what you'd like me to make next. Recommend a cookbook, a recipe, a chef, even something from the internet or an Instagram reel. I'm down. Go ahead and like and subscribe if you want to see some more. This is a brand new channel, so all of that all that engagement really does help and make a difference. So I really appreciate you tuning in. Can't wait to see you next time.